Hi, it's Kamon Reynolds, and it is a gorgeous spring day. April's fixing to be here. The bees are bringing in all kinds of pollens. The dead nettle and henbit are just about done. The dandelions are just about done. The bees are focusing on a different type of tree that's related to maple, which is called box elder. And whew, that bee doesn't like me. Anyways, we're going to get into this bee yard, and we're going to show you what it's like. So we're going through this yard. It's a little windy today, but you know, every colony's got different needs. This one over here, it had almost all of its brood on the right-hand side from the entrance, and there was just about 4 frames of brood here, and then below there's about 3 frames of brood. So it looked really nice, but they really weren't doing a good job about moving over. Definitely a little bit smaller than what I'd like to see this time of the year. But so we kind of rearranged, put all the brood down below, pretty much almost all the empty stuff above. And this one's going to be in good shape, has plenty of room, so it's not going to swarm on us. And now I'm checking this one right here, and it looks like it's real close to wanting to swarm, so that's why I wanted to show it to you. And we initially go through, we're just cracking right here, and I'm feeling lots of weight. I'm seeing lots of bees. Well, there's not as many now that I've smoked them that you can see, but check this out. So we have a lot of queen cups right here, quite a few. And I'm just seeing brood out to here. I'm seeing capped brood over into here. That is a lot of brood, and I'm looking down here and I'm seeing brood frame, brood frame, brood frame. And so they're fixing to outgrow this box, but I'm also seeing some empty combs over here. So this is where a rotation would really come in handy. Might also pull a frame of brood from this colony. The honey flow here isn't going to start for still about 10 to 14 days. So, you know, I'd rather, again, keep them from swarming than anything. I'm looking at these cells, and thankfully they're dry. But, I mean, that could literally change in just a few days. I go ahead and kind of just smash them anyways, just to be on the safe side. It's a whole lot faster than checking them. You know, and then we're going to kind of pull a couple of these frames out and just see what's going on, see if we can pull a frame of brood or so. So first of all, I'm going to pull this right on here. Now typically this isn't a spot, but it is today. And we're just going to open up both of these sides. Nice, healthy population. I'm seeing drones in here. We've stopped feeding the pollen patties. A few weeks ago, the bees are bringing in so much diverse pollens. So these 2 frames they've got a little bit of honey, not a whole lot to them. So I'm going to sit them over here. This one isn't completely drawn out. Let's see what we have. We have a little bit of brood, mostly drone at the bottom. Bee bred, drones, and same thing over here. So that one can be shifted around as well. Now one thing, if you're going to get real particular about placing brood, I would rather have the, if you see any brood that's emerging, just go ahead and stick it in the top, because it's going to come on out, and we're trying to clear space. So I'm seeing eggs down in here. Oh yeah, just eggs, eggs, eggs. So she's doing a good job of rotating between the boxes. But I want to keep that kind of stuff down below, because it's going to take a long time for that to develop all the way and then emerge and clear room for the queen again. So preferably I want all that kind of stuff in the bottom. Yeah, there's just larvae and eggs down in here. Oh, nice. I'm sure the lion's share of the brood's up above. It's pretty normal. Yeah, larvae down in here, starting to cap, and more of the same. So we're just going to keep that down in here. Let's start checking over here and see what we have. 10 frames up in here, so I start at the edge. Now there's some that are a little bit smaller than this colony, not too far, but you know, they don't really need quite as much work. You know, I could just rotate the boxes. That's a good frame of food right there. That's excellent. Always good to stick those types of frames towards the edge where they like to have them anyways. Okay, so eggs, lots of eggs in there. Very good. If we spot the queen, we're going to drop her down below. Those eggs over here. Again, we want those eggs down below and young larvae because we're trying to clear room for the queen. If we're going to take this time to do it, might as well. And it's going to take longer for her to be able to lay in those cells again. Got capped brood over in here. Nice frame of capped brood. I'm seeing a lot of, check this out, Laurel. See down in there all that larvae, shadow might be getting in the way, but anyways, so that means they're just capping these, so they're not going to be emerging anytime soon. Sorry about the wind. Boy, it's really gusting now. Bee work still got to be done. It's going to rain tomorrow. Lots of bee bread, capped brood here. Might pull one of those. All right, lots of bee bread again and capped brood. This is all emerging stuff right here, older. So we're gonna leave that here in the top box. Okay, wow, okay, more emerging stuff, but she's laying it back up. Bee bread, kind of mixed age on this frames. Mixed age on this frame. This is a nice colony. We keep it together and the weather cooperates. It's gonna make several supers of honey. This is emerging, lots of bees emerging from this one right here. It's going to keep that one up top. Haven't been in this bee yard for, well, a whole bee yard inspection for about 2 weeks. Excuse me. Wow, goodness gracious, girl. More, oh, there she is right there. There she is right there. And you can just see her right here, and then over in here, look at all these fuzzy bees. Look at that bee emerging right there. As fast as they are clearing room, she's coming back and laying it up. Like I've said before, the queens can detect the pheromones of emerging new bees, and she knows that's a good spot. Maybe she doesn't know, but something in her little brain tells her that there's room for her to lay over there, and so she goes for it. That is excellent. So we would definitely want to take this queen and place her in the bottom box. That way she's going to lay up that space down below and she'll work her way back up again. All right, there she goes right down there. Just grabbed her by her wings, dropped her on down. She'll work her way back up before too long. Maybe unnecessary, but I like to do it. All right, so actually that frame, the nice thing is now we can pull brood and don't have to worry about the queen being on any of this. So I'm actually gonna pull this frame. We're gonna find a worthy colony and give them this frame, and they won't even have to do any work. I mean, goodness, these bees will probably be emerged out of here within the next 24 hours or so. So let's just put this back again. Well, obviously, we'll have to give them a frame of drawn comb. And we are going to focus on this box over here first. Alrighty then. That's the one we want. Let's see what we've got over in here. And they've got some capped honey over here. There's a little bit of a flow coming in. Yeah, I mean, look at all this brood. Oh my goodness, we definitely need to take some bees from this. We could take 2 from here. I'm gonna come back and goodness gracious. Kills me. Just breaks my heart. We're going to take a little bit more away from this colony. Oh my goodness. This frame's got some capped brood and a lot of bee bread, so it's not taking as much. Well, I misspoke yet again, Laurel. We can always edit these little snippets out and make it look like I know what I'm talking about every time, but where's the fun in that? All right, another great frame of capped brood. I mean, these queens, we really need to think about stop raising our own and buying elsewhere. Okay, so this one is capped brood and eggs and larvae. I think I'm going to swipe this one. It's got a good bit of capped brood, mixed age on this one. So she's laid up a lot of the in-between spaces between the bee bread and the capped brood. That's what we'll go for. So over here, you can just stay right there. I'll be right back. So I've got these two really old combs. This one I'm almost positive was a frame that I put together over 15 years ago. I'm going to use it for a swarm trap. It's just getting old. And I'm just going to find a frame or two over here. Goodness. Ah, yeah. This box comes from the good old days where I was doing some foundationless beekeeping. Oh my goodness. Wavy combs. It was an adventure. I remember this one. I remember this frame when it was brand new. It had that weave and they were going in between like that. Boy, that's been several years. They'll use this comb though. I'm definitely going to stick these up in the top so as the queen naturally moves up, she is going to wear those out like she's been doing everything else. But I don't want to split the brood up, so I'm seeing a frame of food over here, and I'm going to stick this against that frame. It's not always about giving her immediate laying room. Sometimes it's just about giving them a space to put resources so they're not bogging down the middle combs and that kind of stuff. And we're getting some nights coming up that's going to get below freezing just a little bit, so I definitely don't want to be splitting up frames of brood and risking this gorgeous work that she's done. So we're just going to take this frame, stick it here towards the outside. I'm taking those two, and that one's got a little bit of larvae and whatnot. You know, I'm going to stick this one. No. Yeah, yes it does. The larvae, we'll stick that down in there. This one's just food, so we're definitely going to stick that one here. And this one's not even drawn all the way out on this side, so. Alright. 10 down there. What did I do, Laurel? Well, there might have been 9 in only one of these boxes. I went back to 10, or I take a frame feeder out. I don't know what I did. Either way, we'll give them this comb right here, and they can have this one instead. Alright. Queens down below. We got a couple frames of brood. And we're going to put this one together, so now this should really take any thought of maybe starting to swarm right on out of there. It's going to really help a little colony out. And, you know, we might lose a little bit of honey production from this colony, but, you know, there's more important things than just honey production. To me, anyways. All right. We'll show you more stuff here in just a little bit. Well, this is what we're here for. There's swarm cells in this hive. They're not capped yet, so we caught it just in time. Gauging from my experience raising queen cells, I'm going to say that, well, I'm going to let you look at this cell first. You can see how drawn that queen cup. Yeah, this is like a queen cup right here, a little bit more developed. This is like an average looking queen cup that's somewhat fresh. That one is dry. So they're not into full gear. Obviously, if they were really into full swarm drive, there would be, on a hive this size, probably about 10 cells, give or take. But this one right here is probably around day 3 or something like that, or working on it. And you got this one over here, and you can see how it's a little extended. They've added wax to it. And then check up in here. Look at all of this royal jelly. And you can eat that stuff. It's very good for you. Wow, look at all that jelly right there. The bees will consume this and eat it and use it to feed larvae with. So we'll just put this down in here. But we don't want this hive to swarm, so what are we going to do about it? All right, so that's why we're here. Hey, buddy. You got a little drone on me. All right, you're going to have to chill out over here. I got work to do. Same thing. All right, one thing I want to do first, I know that there's swarm cells up here. This looks pretty bare down here as far as I'm seeing a couple frames of brood out, maybe 4 frames with brood on it. So it looks like there's some space. This is not like crazy swarm drive. If those were capped and this hive was plugged, I'd say we're gonna have to do a heavy split. What we're gonna do is just evaluate what we have down here. We're gonna have to go through those frames too and make sure that we don't have any swarm cells. If we miss one, they're gonna hit the trees. All right, so we're just gonna come up down in here, and I'm pretty confident, yeah. Very low impulse to swarm right now. They just run out of room up top. Probably should have had a reversal or a frame of brood or 2 pulled. I'm a little bit behind on 1 or 2 yards. So, you know what, I'm just gonna pull this out because it's gonna go on top. That's an old box right there, goodness. That one's been around. That might have been in the first batch I ever bought from Kelly's. And we're going to drop this down. Now, my goal right now is to get down in there and make sure I don't miss any cell. Then we're going to pull some brood from this hive, probably a shake of bees. We're going to make them feel like they've had a little bit of a swarm happen. You know, they're not thinking, oh, we've already swarmed. They're just thinking, you know, that whatever reason we're causing that, their crowded behavior, queen running out of room to lay, we've got to fix all of those things, and it's still salvageable. So she can't lay in this. Food, every kind. We'll stick this to the side. Wow, no wonder. Queen's getting busy, so we may pull this frame. I'd like to find the queen just so we don't have to worry about her. Lots of good looking drones there. Beautiful, beautiful pattern. Set this off to the side. I'm also looking for queen cups because you can't just look at the bottom. Well, queen cells. Sometimes they'll have them up in here and they'll draw them out too. So you have to make sure you get every single one, whether it's up in here or whether it's down here. 99% of them typically are down in here, at least 90%. That's a gorgeous frame. Lots of food. She's just run out of room to lay, so check in. Now if there's too many bees and you can't see good, I can see all this really well, then you can shake the bees off so you can see better. So yeah, it looks like we've got everything on this frame. I really like this one right here. Probably going to swipe this one from the hive. Man, what are we going to do with all this brood? We'll keep pulling brood from these colonies. Last time I was over here, I pulled a ton of brood. Alright, so this one is mostly just eggs, eggs, eggs. And when the queen stops laying, when they're at that point where she stopped laying, that's usually when it's hard to salvage the situation unless you can catch the queen herself. But she's still laying right away, so we're going to leave this frame in here. I want to check around this funky comb because sometimes it'll be on the inside hanging down in there. So I'm going to take this and shake those bees down in there. Now I got a clear view, and you may not have seen these right here, but look at all these cups. We got a dry cup and 2 started cups right here. Nice royal jelly right there. And this one is dry, so again, not too heavy of an impulse. Hey buddy, sorry I woke you up a little too early right there. Come on out. Put you back in there. Alright, so we're good on this one. Now we could just start shaking them off. That'd be the easiest way to find. If the colony's on the ground especially, you can just shake it and they'll run right in. If it's something soft, it won't hurt the queens too bad. It's better not to shake the queens if you can avoid that, though. You definitely don't want to damage a queen or have something happen to her. But I'm just gonna lightly shake that anyways. Most of the time I'd say she just falls on another bee if she was on this frame. So not seeing any queen cups here that amount to anything. Very low swarm impulse on this colony, but again, left unchecked. We come back in a few weeks and this hive's already swarmed for sure. All right, so looking for that queen. Watch me miss her. A lot of times when I really need to find her, I miss her on the first time go around, and then it's the it's when I don't need to find them. I'm like, oh, there's a queen every time. Just how things work in life. All right, so I'm not seeing any queen cups over here. Excellent. Gorgeous colony. And you know, it's not even the biggest colony in the yard. They just, some colonies want to swarm a little earlier. This one would get an instant off the breeding program. It's just, we don't want colonies that swarm pretty early. Wow, this one is attached to the next frame over with some brood. I'm gonna have to pull them out together. Let's see here. See that queen's on this frame. Yeah, I try to get them apart. Yeah, there's that queen cell right here. That one might be a little further along than I think. Yep, look at all that royal jelly. Larvae right there. Yeah, that's past day 2. All right, let's see if I can get this frame apart. Trying to check and see if the queen's on the outside of this first. They've tied up all this drone brood in here. Wonderful. Let me know if you see the queen, Laurel. I know you will. All right, I'm just gonna set this down for a second. We gotta make sure we get all these cells right here. So we're just gonna shake those down. And lots of drone brood and bees down in here. I'm gonna get rid of this drone brood right here. That was the problem. Shake this a little more. Now that I know the queen's not on, I shake it real hard. I hate doing that to those drones, but every time that you have frames like that, you end up crushing bees between them, and you don't want to crush the queen or anything. So all this right in here, they'll probably tie it back together, but sometimes they won't. Big old drone, goodness. Yep, there's some, see these cups right here? Just very little development on those, but if you miss them, royal jelly, royal jelly. Gotta make sure you get all those. One up here, that one doesn't have anything in it, one there. We are just going to take that and just double check. All right. Best not to let it get to this stage. You don't have to do anything about it. But I'd be lying to say if we didn't have to do this from time to time. This colony swarms, it's going to be a lot of bees hitting the tree. Probably a 4 or 5 pound cluster on the small side. So I'm seeing foodstuffs here. Ah, nice red pollen basket right there from the dead nettle. Oh goodness, just disappeared on me. Food. All right, we're just gonna check this one real quick. It should be more food, but you never can be too thorough. Yeah, this one's just full of honey. Just full of honey. All right, we're gonna check this top box here in a second, and we'll see you in a bit. So we're looking for the queen. I'm going to take this frame from them. Take a shake of bees or so, and just trying to find that gal. Frame of food. We haven't even looked in this top box yet, so we're going to do that here in 1 second. This has been really disruptive to this colony, but they really have a better chance of surviving in our hives with us doing a split than for them to swarm out. There's plenty of, trust me, we missed some swarms, so nature will get its share. All right, we are just going to go to the heart of the problem. I doubt there are cells down in here. We look down below, but you just never know. Sometimes they'll build up in here, all this bird comb, and you can see how there is like a drone cell right there. Sometimes they'll just build off of that and have a queen cup. It'll be like a swarm cell just at the top of the frame. So bees can do interesting things like that from time to time. So you definitely don't want to, again, miss that cell. Queen might be down here. You know, we did, yeah, so like right here, seeing some larvae, and there's this cell right here, something like this. I don't think it's developed, but I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. I don't like that. It's kind of in the way. You can roll bees with it as you're pulling the frame up. Just get rid of it. Seeing some more larvae and whatnot down in here, but no queen, so we're going to stick that over here. Wow, okay. Seeing some capped brood on this one. And another one of those funky cells, so I'm seeing a mixture of bee bred, capped brood. Very nice capped brood over here. Very nice capped brood over here. Might take this frame as well. And before we, let's say we don't find the queen and she's in that box over there and we missed her, which happens from time to time, Laurel and I will both double check those frames back there before we give them to another colony. Another frame of great brood, at least on this side. I'm not seeing any, well, I just said I wasn't seeing any queen cells. But look at this one right here. They've got a few up in here. And I am, excuse me, bee. Let's just yank this whole thing off of here. Come on. And yeah, these are all dry, but they'll use them. That bee's getting a little aggravated at my invasive behavior. Alright, so I'm not seeing any queen cups on the bottom of that drone brood. We'll leave that in there. Just double checking for that queen one more time. Liking what I'm seeing out of this colony though. Just got to keep them together. I mean, a colony like this, if they won't swarm, we make a, you know, if it's a good year, we'll make 2 deep boxes of honey. If it's a nice year, at least 1 deep box of honey if it's just okay. Not seeing her on this end, no queen cups. Another frame with a good bit of brood. We should have just got them spaced a little bit sooner or pulled them back. Oh goodness. Just more brood. We're definitely pulling 2 frames from this one, no question. Still not seeing the queen. There still is more room in this box than there was in the other one. There's less food, but we'll drop 2 drawn combs in here that are empty, and so she'll have more room, reduce the population, eliminate those cells, and we'll come back and check them in a week, but I'm pretty confident that that'll knock them back and they'll get out of that swarm mode. Not seeing the queen on this frame. Not seeing any cups. Another great frame of larvae though. Goodness. Ah, okay, so old looking comb right here, no brood, but there is a pretty big cell on the bottom. Wow, there's, okay, I said no brood, there's eggs on this side. Jeez. So we need to check this out right here, right down here in the crevice between these two drone combs. There's this, and it could be nothing. Oh, it is something. Man, there is royal jelly all in that. That's all it would have taken to got a little lazy and said, you know what, probably nothing over here. Most times I don't think there would be. This queen's going all over the place. Now if I could just see the gal, she must be too busy. And it probably is back in a cell laying an egg. She's just working all the time. Well, this is the last frame. We're not going to get lazy at this point. And I am seeing nothing but a little bit of nectar and pollen. And it's completely dry on that side, so we're actually going to probably move that in. Whew, okay. So what I've got that I'm going to be pulling out of this hive is I've got this frame that's bee bred. It's got a little capped brood. It's got some larvae down in there. I'm going to take the adhering bees. We'll double check the queen's not on here. It's got a lot of capped brood on this side, so that's going to take some good space. And we'll put in its place some drawn comb. That's why I tell you all, you don't listen to some of these guys that tell you after 2 or 3 years you got to throw all that drawn comb away. If you get to a point where you have excess, if you want to do that, that's great. But if you're trying to get somewhere with your bees and expand a little bit and be sustainable, getting rid of comb prematurely is just a waste. And I've never seen any issue using combs that were, well, goodness, even 10 years old, much less 3 years old. And I'll have to blow through this, make sure the queen's on there. They're covering that brood up. Lots of emerging brood on this frame and this one. So we're going to be taking this frame as well. And again, giving them that drawn comb. Crushed all those cells, put it back together. This one has more space. Put it up on top. That's what we do when we see a hive in that kind of condition with the swarm tendency. If we come across one that has some capped queen cells, we're going to have to do things a little bit differently, and we'll try to get that on video. Man, there's just bees. I mean, just look at those bees behind Laurel over there, just doing orientation flights and foraging. It's absolutely gorgeous. Don't pay attention to my beat up Subaru, but it's been paid off for a long time. Man, the bees are just going at it. Gorgeous day. Thanks for sharing it with us, and I hope you and your bees have a great rest of the year. See ya.